and welcome back to Without a Doubt, the podcast. I'm your host, Mad, a cycle breaker, entrepreneur, and a sprinkle of reality. This podcast is a place where we celebrate living life authentically and organically as ourselves. We're the ones breaking cycles, making waves, and living out the truest versions of who we are meant to be. As I turned 34 on Friday, I have been pondering and truly asking myself if I'm really being authentic to who I am. Am I really following my authentic self? And do I really follow my own intuition? Do I lead with my own decision making? And am I really pursuing the life that I want? I do all of these things, but so often I am met at a crossroad where I feel alone. I feel like I'm breaking cycles, and I do feel like I'm trailblazing, but oftentimes it feels super dark. In this darkness, I find a lot of self-doubt. I find ego, people-pleasing. I find myself comparing because I ask myself sometimes, is that really me being the authentic self? Am I really living out my authentic self? And the truth is, yeah. I also know it's not also going to be easy. I'm going to question myself just like I do all the time. And I do have a bunch of episodes on people-pleasing, intuition versus ego, doubt, and all of those topics. But once you start compiling them into this list, it seems like an army getting ready to attack the lone wolf. And as a lone wolf, you have to be strong. You have to be resilient. You have to have stealth. But most importantly, you have to lead with your instinct and your intuition. Being authentic to yourself so often feels like you are the lone wolf. Out in the middle of the snow. Just picture it now. There's trees on the left, trees on the right, and there's just big open field. And there's just a wolf standing there, staring at the camera, staring at whatever, but there's just a wolf in the middle of the field. It's a big, wise, confident wolf. Growing up, I always felt different. I've always been vocal. I've always been very true to me. I've said what was on my mind. I've spoke up for others when they were unable, and I've attempted to do the right thing, whatever that was to me. I felt like my truest authentic calling was showing people their light and being able to hype them up. On my TikTok, it actually says I'm a hype girl. My friend Emily recently just said, like, I am her truest version of the hype girl, and I guess that's really the best label to put me into the box for. I am a hype girl. I am always super excited for people doing things and living out the truest versions of themselves. But when we're not being true to our authentic self, we find ourselves trapped in a box, holding back things that maybe we wish we could release. And all that does is actually suppress our happiness. All that does is hold us back from the greatness that we could show to the world, but we're not. There are studies that show that people who lead a more authentic life prove to have more happiness. There are studies out there that demonstrate that there is a greater number of positive effects linked to living authentically, adding into that more self-confidence and self-worth. Have you ever changed your voice when you talk on the phone? Like, it's your customer service voice. Like, hi, thanks for calling. This is Madison. How can I assist you? You know that is not authentic to you. And you know you don't want to have to use it in front of other people because you know you sound icky. That is exactly what it feels like when you are not living out the truest version of you. If we want to live authentically, we need to be prepared to sit with feelings of discomfort for a bit, because it's only when we step out of our comfort zone we can challenge these beliefs and move forward on the route of authenticity. That's a quote from Emma White. She is a psychologist. And I know it's hard because so many people think we know who we are. We are living authentically. We know what's good for us or what's best for us. But when you're following your authenticity, you're following what moves you. You know what makes you go. You know what makes you special. And you fucking run with that. I've been listening to Paris Hilton's memoir, and she is honestly someone who has truly created not only a brand, but a brand that is authentic to her. You might have your own thoughts about her, that she was a Hilton and that her family is why she is who she is, but she literally created a bubble of what she wants you to think of her. That is actually who she is, believe it or not. Her book, that I've been listening to opens up a lot about her life, how she narrates it. It's her, by the way, but she talks about how she built her brand around animal awareness and saving animals from neglect. She loves animals. She is literally like a modern day Snow White, and she is all about fashion, creating statements. She is a natural born creator. Maybe it's in her genes that she is who she is because of her dad and her grandpa or whatever, but she has created this for her. By the way, I have met her and she is so nice. But you can also feel how genuine she is, and you can also feel how guarded she has been, just trying to protect herself from socials, people, paparazzi, etc. She is like the lone wolf. And I do admire and love Paris Hilton, but that's for another day about the few celebrities I love. I just thought this was really a nail on the head reminder. She might be a celebrity. She might have created a brand around who she was and what she likes, but it's what makes her move, and that's what created the magic into her brand. We all need to be able to do that. For me, this is my podcast, and I thank you, and I tell you that because I am so appreciative of you always being here. This is my art, my creative outlet, but also what I feel authentically pulled and drawn into doing. Authenticity is often threatened by the outside world, even our inner critique and in failure moments. Last week on the podcast, I talked about ego and intuition, and I know for a fact I've led with ego so many times and fell flat on my face. But when I run with my intuition, I'm usually lifted into the abyss and I can feel sparks happening. It's like the jet fuel in my backpack is just taking me out into outer space. I too have fallen on my face with intuition, but it felt different. It felt like I was landing on a padded surface versus concrete. I ask if you too are leading with authenticity. Don't you too feel that no matter what, it's going to be fine? It's really that intuition pull instead of the ego if you're feeling that way. Go listen to my last podcast episode. That one was baller with my friend Emily. 3 things in order to live by, in order to live out your authentic life, is knowing, owning, and being oneself. Ariana Frenny from A Psychologist's Guide to Being Your Authentic Self quotes these 3 things. Knowing yourself entails being aware of your personalities, your values, and needs. You know what you want and what you don't want. Owning yourself means that you can trust yourself, what your opinions are, what you think, and your choices on how you behave. Own it, girl. Also, being yourself entails that you behave in accordance with your personality, your values, and your needs. That means moving with you. You don't let yourself be influenced by expectations of others. There is one thing that will most likely fuck shit up for you, and that is the limiting beliefs that we have about certain topics and ideas. Sometimes these are instilled in us, they're passed down from generational traumas, or they're even new fears we have created through our own failures. We can often shift into a life of less authenticity seeking, more validation when we start masking up or following suit of what others actually put onto us. If you have an idea of what's important to you or what your values are, you'll be better at navigating your way through life. That ends up being pretty satisfying. That's a quote from Jasmine Ehrenberg. I didn't say this was going to be easy. Hell, I didn't even say that I'm a professional at this. I myself am still navigating the authentic self waters. All I know is that I am following the spark that's allowing me to hopefully light up your bubble. We all have magic, art, and life to create. We just need to be able to do it as authentically as ourselves. Don't forget, you are without a doubt a badass. I'll chat you up next Wednesday. If you've got a podcast topic, shoot me an email, a DM, or find the links in the show notes. I'm off to celebrate my birthday weekend and the special little life that I have worked so hard to create. I also want to remind you that protecting your peace is a key aspect to living an authentic life. If you're feeling like it's disrupted, that is your cue to make a change. Peace out and mad love. See you next week. XOXO. Bye.